All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into a mystery that's fascinated people for centuries, the idea of a hidden code, a secret structure, right inside the Quran.
For over 1,400 years, the Quran has made this incredibly bold claim that it's inimitable, that it's perfectly preserved, and that it's completely beyond anything a human could create.
And that very claim has got modern researchers thinking. They're asking this amazing question. If this text really is divinely protected, could there be some kind of hidden system, maybe a kind of cryptographic lock, built right into the fabric of the text itself?
Okay, so where does this whole mystery really start? Well, it begins with these mysterious, disjointed letters. They're known as the hurufu muqatta. You find them at the beginning of 29 chapters or surahs. But here's the thing, they don't form any words we know of. For literally centuries, their meaning has been this huge, intense debate.
So how in the world are researchers trying to tackle a puzzle this old? Today, we're going to look at two completely different, super high-tech keys that have been proposed to unlock this ancient enigma.
All right, first up, we've got a mathematical key. Now, this approach looks at the Quran not just as a book, but almost like a perfectly encrypted data file, one designed from the get-go to be preserved against any possible change.
So there's this one theory from an engineer named Mustafa Kurtulu, and he argues that the Quran is protected by a system that works almost exactly like a modern digital checksum. It's like a mathematical fingerprint for a file, and its whole job is to make sure not a single letter has been changed over all this time. We're talking 14 centuries.
Okay, so how is a system like this even supposed to work? Well, the whole theory starts with a really simple but powerful observation. It's all about the number of verses inside each of the 114 surahs.
So check this out. When you take all 114 surahs and just group them based on whether they have an even or an odd number of verses, something pretty amazing happens. A really precise balance just appears. You get exactly 60 surahs with an even verse count and 54 with an odd one. It creates this kind of foundational layer of mathematical symmetry right at the start.
And then, that symmetry is supposedly locked into place by what the theory calls a duo code. And this code is based on two prime numbers, 7 and 19. Now, what's wild is that proponents of this theory point out that these aren't just random numbers pulled out of thin air. No, they're explicitly mentioned right there in the text, almost as if they're pointing to their own importance.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because this new theory wades right into a major controversy. You see, there was this earlier theory called Code 19, and it claimed that you had to actually remove the last two verses of the 9th surah to make all the math work out. But this newer 7 and 19 duo code model, it argues the complete opposite. It says those two verses are absolutely essential. In fact, keeping them is what perfects the entire symmetrical structure.
Okay, let's switch gears completely. We're going to move to our second key. This one, it just sets all the math aside and starts looking for a totally different kind of pattern, one hidden right there in the words and sounds of the text.
So this second theory proposes something fascinating, that the Quran isn't just a list of chapters, one after the other. Instead, it's this perfectly designed literary structure. Think of it like a grand cathedral with different rooms and chambers, each built for a different purpose and for a different audience.
So the method here isn't about numbers at all. It's all about language. It involves this massive systematic analysis of the sound and the rhythm of how every single verse ends. And by doing this, researchers believe they've identified these unique phonetic signatures that pop up again and again across different groups of surahs.
And here you can see the result. It's pretty amazing. The analysis actually sorts all 114 surahs into 5 totally distinct sets. Each one of these sets is defined by its own unique mix of these verse-ending patterns. It's like they've uncovered a hidden architectural blueprint for the entire book.
But so what? What's the point of a structure like this? Well, here's the kicker. Each set seems to have its own clear purpose and is aimed at a specific audience. What this suggests is that the text's focus actually shifts, depending on which room of this grand cathedral you happen to be in.
So, okay, let's take a step back. Here we are, looking at two really profound but totally different ways of trying to understand this hidden layer of complexity inside the Quran.
So on one hand, you have this idea that the text is protected by an unbreakable numerical lock, right? Like a cryptographically secure file. And on the other hand, you have this idea that it's all organized by a perfect literary blueprint, almost like an architect's master plan.
Either way you look at it, both theories are pointing to this absolutely astonishing level of complexity that's just hidden right under the surface.
You know, what's really important here isn't about trying to decide which one of these theories is right. I think the bigger takeaway is this. For the first time, researchers with these powerful modern tools, we're talking computational analysis, advanced linguistics, they are exploring these incredible claims of a deliberate, super complex structure inside a 1,400-year-old text.
And that really leaves us with a pretty provocative thought to chew on, right? I mean, what does it even mean if a 1,400-year-old text has these layers of complexity that we're only just now beginning to see with our modern tools? Whether you see it as a divine checksum or a literary cathedral, this ongoing search for hidden patterns shows us just how incredibly deep and complex this ancient text continues to be.